Hello, and welcome to the Yogeez Podcast. It's actually been a while since our last one, about 2 months by the time this comes out. So we've had a little bit of a breath, a bit of a breather. But with me today, as usual, we have Gabes. Gabes, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. Excited to be doing this again. Manny Geez, how are you?
Doing fine, thank you.
Yeah.
New venue, new spot.
venue, new studio. Shiny
Loving
new
it.
studio. And Ollie,
Hello,
welcome.
mate. Hi guys.
You all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You all right?
excited.
Yeah. Nice. So today we are going to be talking about friendship, and in particular male friendship and what it means, what friendship actually means and what's important to us within friendship. I think also some of the intricacies around friendship as well that are sometimes hard to deal with in our lives on a daily basis. But first of all, as per usual, I'm going to start with some quick fire questions. So, Manny Geez, we'll start with you, next to me on the sofa. One word to describe what true friendship feels like.
Loyalty.
Yeah, nice.
Ollie?
Nice. Mate, you smashed it.
I took it all, innit?
Thesaurus.
Respect.
Games. One word, what friendship feels like.
Understanding.
I
Understand.
knew he was going to say that. I can see it coming.
Next question. Gabes. What do you value most in friendship? Doesn't have to be one word.
I know he just said it, but loyalty. I think loyalty is everything to a friendship. Knowing that you've got each other's back through whatever. That's what I value the most.
Manny?
Motivation.
Motivation.
Yeah. You need good friends that's, going to motivate you in different situations that happen in life.
Someone to lift you up
Indeed.
when needed.
Up you get.
Yeah, I love that.
Ollie?
Well, these two guys have absolutely smashed it, but adding to that, consistency. 'Cause I think if you can consistently be there for someone, you're doing a pretty good job as a mate. Someone that you know you can rely on, you know?
Yeah, that's actually something I'd like to come back to later as well, because I think with friendship, there are the friends that are on a consistent basis, and then there are ones that are inconsistent, but it's almost like that inconsistency doesn't matter as much. But I do think something around some sort of consistency and whatever that looks like is important.
Yeah.
Last quick fire. Ollie, do men struggle to have platonic female friendships?
Yes. I think so. I don't know. I mean, I do.
Okay.
But I think also I've seen my other mates like struggle with it.
Gabes?
Yeah, I'd agree. It's not impossible, but yeah,
No.
I agree that it can be difficult.
Manny?
I slightly disagree because I have a lot of female friends. I call them my hummingbirds. They're my support.
Hummingbirds?
Yeah, they're my support network. And actually, they are making it very hard for me to get a girlfriend because I have to, not compare, but I'm like, I have such good friends in terms of ladies, and it's very hard to find someone that's going to fit in.
Okay.
Do they have high standards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morals, loyalty, understanding, they have all of that in abundance.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite easy to be friends with ladies.
Yeah. I think for the first 20 years of my life, I found it harder. And then after that, I found it easy. I found once I matured and maybe my relationship with certain like women who were friends got to like a certain stage, then for me, it's almost like I made that mental jump, being like, okay, actually I can view, and this sounds really almost childish, but like I can view a female as a really, really good friend, like I could view a guy as well. So I think for me, it kind of, I found it hard, and then when I found it easy, then like you're saying, I find that friendships with females they're very different to like your male friends, obviously.
Yeah.
And it is kind of that more support. It's different, the feminine energy. But I guess to Ollie and Gabes, why do you think it is hard to have platonic relationship with a female?
It's a good question, and I should probably caveat it with that makes it. I don't want to make it sound like sort of scumbag guys. You know what I mean? That's not what it's like. And I think I should also say that it can be difficult to have those relationships, but when you do, often they are like some of your most treasured relationships. Some of my best friends who are girls, I have a relationship with them that is so different to the relationship I have with any of my boys.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. But why is it difficult? I don't know. I don't want to be too reductive, but I do think there's like some element of kind of genetic wiring that like of male and female.
Something
that's that? I don't know what else it could be other than that. To be honest, I feel like that's definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like a generic kind of way of society has been?
It's not so society maybe, but also just like biology. I don't know, and like it's men and women. It's not that you're not wired not to be friends, but men and women are wired to essentially meet and
especially
mate
from the point,
and procreate, right? So like,
this is also the point of view for heterosexual men as well, which is, would be different if we had someone else here. But I do think that, and I think for me, even if I meet someone who then becomes a really good friend, a female, at the beginning, as that friendship is forming, I will still sometimes have the questions of, oh, what is this? Is it a friendship or is it not a friendship? And then it depends on the timescale. Sometimes it's quite quickly. Oh no, it's straight into friendship. And then sometimes it might be take like 2 or 3 weeks for you to be like, okay, no, this is just like platonic friendship. But I do think there is that. What do they use in football? The corridor of uncertainty. There's like almost a bit of a corridor of uncertainty when you're figuring it.
I think it's well exemplified by, or maybe not well exemplified, but when you meet a girl and it's quickly established that one or both of you are in a relationship, I find that the friendship forms much quicker, because it's almost like that corridor of uncertainty is you don't have to visit it, and it's like you're both putting your cards on the table.
You're both wearing red at a traffic light party.
Yeah, you're both wearing red at a traffic light party. You're both being like, this is the situation, and it's like no tension. Do you know what I mean? I've definitely found that in the past.
We've all had those experiences though, when you meet someone, you're like, oh, do they want to be my friend, or do they like want more than that? And I think that you can. Well, I definitely have had awkward encounters that have led me to be more cautious. I think I don't think it's impossible, definitely, but I am way more cautious when it comes to having a friend with a woman rather than a man. And it's a massive difference. It's a different dynamic as well. Like there's always a lot of kind of like, well, I don't know, there's not always, but a lot of the time there's like almost like a tension, or like a lot of things that you don't say at the start specifically. And if you don't, like Gabe said, if you don't like iron through that like really quickly, there is always going to be like something that you're uncertain about. Whereas with a bloke, it's very easy to just kind of just have a casual relationship. I don't think I could have a casual relationship with a female. I think I could have a really close one like Manny, where they're like almost like sisters. Like family. But I think I'd struggle to have a casual one, because I'd be uncertain. And also when you have a relationship, it's like you don't want your partner to worry about that kind of stuff as well. So that's something that I'm considerate of as well, because I know how I'd feel if I didn't know the other friend or something like that.
What do you think the qualities of a female friendship are that we might not get in male friendships?
So female have this mothering kind of nature, you know, they seem more attentive to what you're going through. And not to say that guys don't offer that kind of help, but as we know, you know, female kind of have that mother instinct in them, the mother nature side that makes them care one step further than a man would. Sometimes I also think it determines what industries you're in or you're working in. In some industries you can have a lot of friends because you need to have friends in that industry. But if you're working in some other type of industries, then you know you might not have the opportunity to meet different people all the time. When you're working like in creativity, you always meet different people. And with everyone you meet, you're not going to be like, oh, I can have her or she can have me, because that would be a waste of energy, because you're solely focused on doing work, and that's what it is.
I think something else you mentioned that I was going to want to talk about as well, It's like that thing of quantity versus quality.
Yeah.
And I feel that it's almost like if you were to have a graph and age, it was almost like when I was younger growing up, it's like loads of, the quantity of friendships are way higher. And then as I've got older, quantity has gone down, but quality has gone up, and it's become more...
There's a small chance where it could be like a reverse. Like the older you get and the more you understand yourself, the more you meet people of your tribe because you're open. When you're young, you're just like running around,
But your tribe is smaller because, like, let's say you cast the net out when you're younger. You're saying you haven't quite found yourself for whatever reason. Your tribe is way bigger. There's, you're friends with everyone. Or at least this is kind of like I felt like I was growing up. As like friends with everyone, and then as you get older, like you're saying, you find your tribe more, and then your friendships do get higher quality, better connection. But for me, at least, definitely less quantity.
I mean, because for myself, because like I grew up in South London, so everything was much kind of like cagey growing up, and so it was more about sticking to your group of friends and not venturing out to meet other people. So as I got older, I allowed myself to be myself, because as you get older, you find yourself, and when you find yourself, you're able to reach out to more people. I mean,
probably know more what you want now out of people, right?
Yeah. And sometimes, depending on who you are, you always find your tribe, don't you?
Yeah.
It cuts out the bullshit, and you know when you meet someone that's decent.
Yeah. You can filter through it quicker now.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I was thinking about mentioning this kind of later on, but maybe now we're talking about it, so maybe now's the time. We're talking about how you grow up and the tribe gets smaller, and like your friends get smaller, which I agree with. But equally, in my personal journey, particularly like if you've gone to uni like I did, that's a massive time where you're friends with everyone. You've got 1,000,001 friends, but they're not really your friends. You leave uni and it kind of, there's a massive school, it could be school, but there's a massive drop off, and you kind of get to a thing of like, this is probably my lot now. This is my lot, which is great. I in this year have made friends, but like three guys like stand out, and I'll shout them out. They won't see this. So
I thought you were going to talk about us three. Then,
I've known you for longer than this year. Louis, Gosher, and Harvey.
Yeah.
If you do watch it, big love. They won't, but three guys who I've
they need to watch it.
Made friendships with this year, and it's been one of the most enriching things to my life. Is meeting three new mates who have become like brothers almost. Do you know what I mean? And like,
do you meet them at work?
I met them through work, yes, but very quickly we became friends outside of work.
Nice.
And I don't know, it's just been such an amazing experience to like have my brothers who have been my brothers for years, but then meet these new people, and like it's added who are totally different to my other friends. Do you know what I mean? They're totally different, but we've become really tight in a different way. And I don't know, that's just like, it is interesting because men don't tend to make, like you, I think you hit the nail on the head, man, about we're quite cagey.
Yeah.
That's definitely when we're younger, but throughout our whole life, I think, again, it's like a genetic thing, whatever, but like we're wired, I think, in a way to be like, not, oh my God, let's be friends with everyone. That's not how we're supposed to be. We're protectors and stuff like that. But so when you do, like, for whatever reason, your energy and a new person's energy match, particularly when it's two guys, it can be like massively enriching. Or that's what I've found this year anyway.
Are your friends different? The ones have you got friends from like a long time ago, like from like school or something?
Do you know what? Interesting for me, like, yes, but very few.
Yeah.
It's a trait of mine, which I think is actually something I don't love about myself, is that I get very caught up in the place and time that I'm in right then. And so I can quite easily, old relationships can fall by the wayside for me, which is a real shame because at the time they were such amazing friendships. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I also do have this belief that like the people that are meant to stay around will stay around. Your energies are gonna stay connected and intertwined. But in all honesty, actually, from like growing up the past, I don't have loads and loads of really close
Do
friends.
you think sometimes we play by the narrative as, when you get older, you are expected to have a smaller group of friends? Is it because we're playing to the narrative that's before us? Like, well, truly life goes on, and every day is a new day to meet someone, every day is a day to do something new.
I think it's priorities. Like, as you get older, you have way more responsibilities, way more priorities. Like, for instance, Nick now has a little girl to look after who's going to take up however many hours of your life.
So Nick has a little girl, then you might take your little girl to the park. There might be another dad with a little girl.
Yeah.
Then you might form a new friendship. Every new dimension creates an opening for you to do something different.
Yeah. I think that's true. I do think it's like those kind of friendships you're talking about are normally more casual as opposed to like deeper. There'll be some people you meet through that, obviously, where it does become deeper. But I do think, and to build on like what Gabe's is saying as well, is you kind of go on this journey with friends. And I remember, I think I was 19, and this was when the generation was all, this was Facebook generation, pre-Instagram, and we all had 1,000+ friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, and I remember speaking to my dad about this in the car. He was like, who the fuck are all these people? He probably didn't say fuck. He said, who are all these people? Like, how do you have 1,400 friends or whatever it is? And, it's a ridiculous thing about Facebook friends. And then I said, I don't know, a lot of them here, a lot of them there. And then I remember him telling me something, saying, you'll be surprised at how few of them, and we weren't talking about the 1,400, but more my close friends from university and school, he said, you'll be surprised by how few of them you'll still be friends with in 15 years. And that has happened. And I think what has happened is I've made new friends along the way, and some that I've come really close to, and some who I'd consider as my best friends. But then there are a few from school or from like the early days, and those friendships are no kind of better or worse than other friendships, but it's kind of the friendships from the source are the ones that are, for me, maybe to put this how I'd say is, they're the easiest. Because these people know me since I've been 13, since I've been 7, and I feel with those kind of friendships, I'm totally myself to a thing where there's nothing I'm trying, not that I'm trying to be someone else in other friendships, but there's just a real ease to it when you've grown up with someone and they've been your friend for a while, and they're the kind of people, Ollie, who I might not see for 3 years. I'll see them, I'll go for a walk, I'll go for lunch or dinner with them, and you click straight back into it. And it's there, I guess each friendship has a different role in our lives, and some are for X, some are for Y. But I do think there's something in those friendships from the source that are just easy.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I agree. And there is, in a way, there's nothing like those friendships that you've had since you were this big. But again, just to like be on the flip side and to use the examples of the friends I've made this year, or like whatever, what can be really nice about making new friends is like the freedom of identity, I guess you could call it, in that they are meeting you, they are meeting you where you are. And there's nothing wrong with someone knowing you throughout the years. That's an amazing thing. But I find there's something really enriching and freeing about they've met me as Gabe's now, like who I am now. And I really like that. I love that I've got my best friend in the world has known me many years, but like, and I was with him yesterday, and we had a really interesting conversation about me through the years and my relationship to stuff and whatever. And that's an amazing part of it. But I do find there's something particularly freeing about meeting someone where both of you are at now. You're meeting each other where you're at right now, and you can build from that there. And it's almost like the shackles are off in your friendship. I don't know if that makes sense.
Because you know yourself better, like you feel more, like you said, more freedom.
Like you were saying,
But have you ever had that scenario that you've known someone for years, then as the year goes by, you say to yourself, actually, I don't really think I know you.
Your values, there's like a misalignment on values into different things.
You begin to drift.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few.
I think that's probably because you start really caring about specific things as you get older. Like politics is a massive one, and religion and like all these kind of things, and like culture. As you get more like into these things, I think that they divide people. Just in general, though, like in life,
like you're saying, you find more yourself, and within that, you become more specific about the things you like, hobbies, whether that, whatever it is. And then there'll be some people who'll go a different way, and maybe someone who, you know, when you were younger, let's take university, who used to go partying a lot at university, and you bonded over partying, and that was your friendship, was all about like going out and whatever that involves. And then as you evolve as a person, they evolve as a person. One of you might get more into, I don't know, you work in finance and you get more in the world of finance, and I have got a couple of people I know who have definitely got more materialistic than me, and that makes me not like them, but find it harder to connect with them.
It's got less in common.
Yes.
Less in common.
Do you think like when you was young, you're more competitive, like you kind of compare yourself to what you have, or your friends do have, or you don't have, and that kind of puts or makes the relationship unbalanced sometimes, because when you're young, it's a competition sometimes. Like who could get the most girls, who's got the latest pair of trainers or whatever, and those kind of things are artificial. So whilst you're friends with someone, you might be building a relationship based on artificialness, like it's not real. Then when you get to our age now, whatever age, you know, friendship are based on, you know, more meaningful things.
Deeper connections.
Deeper connections.
How can we do that though? Like as like you get older, like we said, like it's harder to make friends. I'm in my 30s now, and I don't just meet blokes that want to be mates. Like you said, you don't just go up to someone and be like, oh, let's be friends. Like I really like you. Like it is quite a feminine thing.
His industry is quite, you know, you work in hospitality.
Yeah, it's a unique situation.
So you always meet, because I have a cousin.
And you are a very chatty. You know, you love a conversation with everyone.
Well, which
is an amazing thing.
I give everyone a chance to.
You give everyone a chance to
express themselves.
Yeah.
And as time goes by, time ever makes a fool out of you or makes you whatever. But I have a cousin that, you know, he's always traveling. I'd be like, where you going? Like, he goes, I've got that friend in that country. And he does go there, and he sent me a picture of him and that friend having a great time. Oh, 2 months time, where you going? I got another friend in China. I'm like, fuck, you know.
I think traveling's a really good way of making new friends, isn't it? Because you can go as, like you said, like when you made new friends, they knew you for who you are now. When you go to a different country, you're like, they don't know who you were. So they're not your mates from school that call you fatty bum bum. Like, you know, like maybe you're like, you've lost a lot of weight and you're ripped, and you go to like a different country and they're like, oh my God, like, look at this guy, he's fucking sick. Whereas you didn't used to be. I think that's a really good way of making good friends.
But which is also, and is like the caveat to that is that like, it's not always just about shedding your past and ignoring who you were. Like, but it's just a different aspect of it. It's a different aspect of like meeting someone, and also say if you are encountering like a particular problem in your life, the advice that your friend who's known you for 20 years is going to give you is going to be amazing, because it's going to be based on who you've been in their eyes, right? And that's really helpful. But it's also, to me, really important to get the advice of someone who knows you just as who you are now, because their advice won't be tainted by
the memory
of you when you were 18 and you did this in this situation, and like you acted like that, and that's important context. But I feel like it's important to have both, that someone who just knows you as Ollie now can be like, well, knowing you as I do now, this is what I think my feeling towards it. I find that really, really useful.
I think you're right, because when I was growing up, I have like 2 really good friends, and when they went through stuff, like, you know, one of them lost their mum and dad, whatever, at quite a young age, I was there to support them. But when I went through something similar, and, you know, they were not there to support me, so it's easy to have a grudge against them. But a friend that's quite new in your journey, you can't really have a grudge against them, but sometimes that allows them to give you a good advice or be more supportive emotionally, while someone that you've known for quite a long time let you down, it kind of cuts you deeper than anything. So I think friends, like you're saying, have the values at whatever spectrum they come into your life.
At whatever stage of your life as well, whatever you're going through at that time is.
Do you believe it's possible to, like, you know, we've probably got friends that we've had since we were kids and stuff that we're like really close with. Like, I know I've got my best mate who's feels like it's just family, basically. Like, I know his family,
so
I know his kids and
now.
stuff.
Like, my friends from way back then, they're like my brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you think, like, so not everyone has the luxury of having that, but do you think it's possible to get that in later in life? Say if you're in your like 30s plus, can you meet someone in that like age or that time of your life and have a brother for life? Like, because that's ultimately like what Yogeez is about, really. It's like community and meeting people and like supporting and stuff.
I don't think there's any age limit on meeting a brother
Absolutely.
for life. 100%.
I think your experiences you go through will determine who you meet and what you gain from. I wouldn't say gain, but what you get from it. You know, sometimes, sadly so, struggle and pain bring people together, and as you go on the journey of life, you normally encounter more pain and more struggle. Then you meet people that you align with and you can share experiences with.
Yeah, I agree.
I think also like when you meeting people, say in like your older years or whatever, because with every passing year and the more and more we all grow up, I think you realise that you actually have a choice who your friends are, right? And this is a big one for me, is that for the early part of your life, obviously you do have a choice, but you're either not aware of it or like you kind of just fall into things. It's massively dictated by where you go to school, where you live, whatever. But once you get out of those systems, you can choose who your friends are, and you can choose who your friends are based on what they add to your life and what you think you add to their life. And it would be like the easier thing to do is to kind of stick with the same, because that's what you know, which is also not a problem. But that's a kind of part. That's like why I think you could meet a brother at 50, because you meet each other and you just your energies are interlocked. They match. You give each other something, even though you probably by that age and stage wouldn't know how to necessarily express it. You provide each other with something, and you choose to be each other's friend. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I wonder, to move it on a little bit, do you think, so there's all these stats now about how men, and you know, we did No Man's Island last year, that version was all about loneliness, and we all know the stats around male loneliness. It's the highest it's ever been. People don't feel like they have many friends. The amount of friends in terms of numbers are going down. And I think, almost going back to that Facebook friends analogy of having 1,000, 5,000 friends or however many you have, I think we can all have lots of friends, and I've certainly felt this in my life as well at times, is even though I feel surrounded by friends and people around me, you can still feel lonely as well, because you don't get that deeper connection sometimes that you need, or like when you're going through stuff, you're saying that someone didn't give you what you needed then, and you can still feel, even if you're in a room with your best friends, but let's say you're feeling like you're needing something at that moment in your life, you can still feel lonely. Right?
Yes.
And it's that thing we talked about around loneliness, is this thing of you can be in a room of 30 of your best mates and you can still feel lonely because you don't feel connected to yourself or connected to the people around you.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to friendship, is that something, let's say Manny, is that something that you've experienced at times of their life? Has there been a time in your life where even though people have been there, they haven't been there for that? From those particular friendships in your life, you haven't got what you needed at that particular time, and you felt lonely.
No, it's kind of strange you asked this question, because at times I thought about it. If I'm feeling lonely, then I ask myself, am I being selfish, or do I want more from people? Have they given me more? Am I just looking for more than, But I think sometimes, depending on the experience you have with certain friends, will determine the level of that loneliness. So for instance, I was angry with some friends from the past that didn't reach out to me when my sister passed away, because we shared times together. So it intensified the loneliness, because you didn't reach out to me. Maybe you reaching out to me would have meant a lot to me at that point of time. So I think you're right in what you say. Sometimes, no matter how much friends you have around you, there's still that element where you feel a little bit lonely. Like, no one feels wholesome every day. Yeah, there's days where you feel like I'm by myself. But I question my selfishness when I think like that. I think, am I being selfish?
Why? Because you're expecting more from other people?
Yeah, and sometimes I say to myself, maybe it's a time I need to be alone in this journey. Maybe it's the time for me to feel this journey more. Like, I don't need to have someone there all the time, because when I do look back, and I'll be like, oh, they were there for me. You done that for me. So I don't want to be too selfish with my emotions sometimes. But we get lonely. Like, it's standard. Like, you're never gonna have enough.
I think it's also in our nature to try and just deal with things in ourselves, like without asking for help. I don't know, like about you guys, but I definitely always find myself trying to fix things myself or like figure it out myself before asking for help. And I think sometimes it is actually really useful to ask for help, like when you need it. And I think a lot of people, my male and female, like everyone, like struggles to say, you know what, I'm having a really shit time at the moment. Can I speak to you about it? Like, you know, just like we say, like a lot on our Instagram, we do these WhatsApp posts where we're like, look, mate, I'm having a bit of a shit time at the moment. Can you give me a hand? And it's not hard to just send a text, but it actually really is. Like to send, especially like as a bloke sending it to another bloke saying, mate, I'm having a shit time at the moment. I know a lot of my mates will reply with, oh, man up, mate, come on. Or like, oh, you like, you know, they'll make a joke about it. And so it is quite hard to find like those kind of relationships. I've got an amazing male friends, but I know a lot of them wouldn't provide the support that I need. And that's when I think your mentioning of having close female friends, like I always go to my mum, like she provides me with that security, and my girlfriend, but I would love to have like a female friend that kind of offers that.
Sometimes when I speak with my female friends or companions, they kind of know when something's wrong with me. It's strange. They know straight away. But with the guys, they do open up when I do speak to them about problems and stuff. But with the female friends, they just kind of like know. Like they'll be like, "Are you okay? You sure?" It's like they leave the door open for you to want to express what you might be going through at that time. While with guys, you have to kind of like go back and forth. Then finally, like, Nick, tell me what's going on. Yeah. Have a few guesses, then you'd be like, okay, this is the one, you know. But with females, like they kind of know, and that's why it's kind of pivotal to have female friends.
How can we do that as men though? Like, because you know we can't all have female friends. Like,
no, I think I don't know if this will answer the question. Maybe I'll get there, but what is really important for me, or what I've identified as being important in healthy friendships and having that support network, is knowing that you can have different types of friends that serve different purposes. So you can have the fun friends, to your point, who your relationship is based off going out and partying or whatever. I've got plenty of those, but we serve a purpose to each other's lives. Just because that's the kind of extent of our friendship. That's really important. Then I have another set of friends, and this is where it gets to kind of the count on one hand level of friendships. The phrase I would use is something I've heard Simon Sinek say, of people who will just sit in the mud with you. When you're in the mud, whatever that might look like for you, people who won't try and fix you, who won't try and help you, who will come and sit in the mud with you. And you're not going to have many of those by the nature of what that is. You're not going to have many people like that. But identifying that the people that will come and sit in the mud with you, and accepting, for me, it's a period of accepting that not everyone will be like that. And that's okay. That's life, right? Some people, and maybe it takes tragedy or an unfortunate event to happen for you to identify that, because it might be someone who you thought was willing to sit in the mud with you is not willing to sit in the mud with you. And again, that's okay. That's life. But that has been really key to me to make sure that I'm nurturing friendships of all types, and B, make sure that I can identify and know who my support network are, who will be there when I most need them.
That reminds me of, when you say sit in the mud, that reminds me of, I follow a lot of Marines and Special Forces leaders and stuff on social media and the internet, and they all speak about when they go through something like war with another man, like it bonds them for life, and there's no like other bonding experience like it. And like, I suppose the sit in the mud, they literally are in the mud with each other, and they are the hardest men I've ever seen, and yet they are probably the best friend to like, you know, they'll sit through all of the like PTSD, like shock and all the things that you go through at the end of war, but they'll be there for their brothers and stuff. And I think that that's really interesting because they're like super traditionally masculine men, you know, like they're fighting with guns and like killing people, seeing people getting killed. But yeah, they'll be the ones.
But are these just those influences? Was that throughout?
I think this is from what I've seen. I mean, obviously I can't speak for every man that's been to war, but from what I've seen, like that is the kind of mentality that you get from serving. And that's kind of what they bring back with them, is that, you know, you can still be a super traditional man, but also be there for your brothers, or at least like just sit in the mud with them, because I think that is an amazing way of supporting someone. Like you don't have to speak sometimes, it's literally just knowing someone's there is really nice. Just having someone in the room, or knowing that someone's there if you need someone to just literally just be there. Because I know that sometimes is, you know, may not seem a lot, but I think that's all you need sometimes.
That is all you need sometimes. Is someone to just be there. Like I said, and we speak about this a lot, not trying to fix, not trying to give advice, not trying to sort things out for you, but just someone to be there. And when you find, often that person is your partner or your mum or someone like that. So when you find another man who is willing, able and capable of doing that, it's special beyond all measure, I think. And that's like a key reason why we do what we do, I think, is for men to provide that space for other men. It has a unique energy to it when men can do that for other men, I think.
Yeah, and it's very rare.
Very rare,
I think, as well. Do you think that in general you could say women are better friends with each other than men are?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just different. It's just a different dynamic. I think that men express themselves and are there for other men in different ways, and women do it in different ways as well. I think we're just so completely different and unique in our own way that it's almost impossible to compare. But one thing that I think is quite obvious is that, and is the saying that, I think I said this in another podcast, is that when men connect and they talk, they do it shoulder to shoulder. So whether it's at a football game, whether it's playing a video game, whether it's having a beer, you connect shoulder to shoulder, but it takes time. Like you have to go through what, like you guys said, you have to go through a few times of trying to actually feel like you're there. Whereas I think women naturally connect face to face. So they'll go to like brunch or they could be, you know, just hanging out, and they'll be like, so tell me what's going on, like, you know, and they'll go straight to it. Whereas for us, it takes a lot for us to take the armor off, to peel back their protection.
Totally.
But yeah, shoulder to shoulder. So we do it. It just takes a while.
That's such an interesting analogy, because I think that is both metaphorically and physically true. If I think about the times when I've had like really deep conversations with my mates, honestly, often we're not actually sat looking each other in the eye. We're sat like side to side, and that makes that's so interesting. It makes it easier, that exact thing of being sat like not directly looking at someone. I'm thinking about even yesterday, I had a really like fruitful conversation with my friend. We were in the sauna, so we sat next to each other. We weren't looking at each other.
It's because it's face to face is super intimate. Like when you look someone in the eye, you can see their pain, you know. But like,
why do you struggle to do that as men?
Oh mate, it's intimacy, isn't it? It's, you know, it's hundreds and hundreds of years of us being told that it's like wrong to be intimate with another man, or that it's like you're gay if you show some kind of like effect. And it's like it's just a kind of really old thought process, I think, you know. It doesn't have to be like that. Like being there for a mate and like actually like truly being there for them, I think is one of the most masculine things you can do, because like you're helping another man, like, you know. At least I don't think there's anything wrong with just chatting with a mate and just being like, look, honestly, I'm having a shit time, or like, you know, are you okay? But I think like even speaking about this, I'm sweating a little bit, you know. And it's something so strange about doing that and being vulnerable. Like, it goes back to vulnerability always with geezers, doesn't it?
Do you think in terms of longevity, although women, you know, express themselves in friendship more than men do they have longer lasting friendship than men?
I don't know, but what I would say is that I do think that a close female friendship will have a deeper relationship than a closer male friendship. I think women are naturally can go, like we're saying, can go deeper, easier, and therefore it just goes deeper and deeper. And so I think this again. We are making a few generalizations here. There are obviously lots of exceptions, and it isn't like this for everyone. But I do think, and it's like what you're saying, Manny, with your female friends, and the same with me with my female friends. You can just go, you can jump in straight away, jump into the deep end straight away. And I think then it just makes it easier to have those kind of relationships with women. So I don't know in terms of longevity. I think maybe it's quite similar in the fact that we were talking about longevity, different stages of life. When you meet people, you might meet someone at 50, you might meet another mum, you might meet another dad, with that kind of thing that we're saying. So I think it's more stages of life, but I do think that women in general will go deeper with their closest friends. And they normally have less friends.
That was perfectly on time.
I was going to say sometimes, women get into a new relationship, whether it's with a man or woman, then it becomes harder for you to have that relationship you used to have with them when they were single, perhaps, when they had no partners. But when women get into a relationship, I feel like it kind of stops a little bit, the friendship. While with guys, no matter what relationship we're in, I'm always going to be friends with you no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be friends with you no matter what. But with women...
Depends on that person's partner.
Yeah.
That's where it will come from.
Yeah.
So it depends if their relationship is what place that's in.
Well, would any man allow?
Yeah.
I think it's... But I don't think it's like... I hear what you're saying, but I also don't think that's...
Trust.
That crazy. That like... When you might be friends with a girl who then enters into a relationship...
It's trust.
You're no longer going to be her number one guy.
Yeah,
that's just the reality of it. Yeah. I think that's normal. It's not. Yeah, it is about trust. Them trusting each other.
There's a whole.
It is, but it's just. It's also just like. I think that's just kind of normal. Would you if you got with a girl and she became your girlfriend and she had one guy who was her best friend, she shared everything with? Would you be cool with that?
Yeah.
Nah,
I'd be very
I don't even
hesitant.
know if you said yes or no there. It's kind of like, yeah.
Would you be cool with that?
I'd be cool with that.
Really?
Wait.
Being honest, I know this is being recorded.
Rewind and hear what that answer was.
We're live on TV, whatever.
You'd be cool with that?
I mean, at the end of the day, I can't stop people from doing what they want to do, right?
But that's not what I asked. I asked if you'd be cool with it.
It's a trust thing. If you trust the person, then yeah.
Yeah, I'll be cool with it.
Depends on the person. It depends on the person that
I have
you're
to
with.
be cool with it because I cannot control what people do.
Yeah.
Like, if you're my partner, then I trust you as my partner. You're my partner for a reason. Before you became my partner, I saw the qualities in you. So I trust in you to be able to develop and maintain any friendship you have with a male companion. Yeah. I trust you to trust yourself. If you trust yourself, then I trust you.
Yeah. But also, I think it's complete. I think let's say it's near the beginning of a relationship, there might be feelings of jealousy, and that's totally normal. It might just take a month or two, or you actually like hanging out with that other person as well, and then so I think it depends on the relationship, depends on the person. I think it's completely fine to feel jealous as long as that jealousy isn't too strong and overpowers other things. And I think you need to just have an adult conversation about it.
It's a value thing.
Would you be jealous if your partner was doing?
Nah, jealous is. I wouldn't be jealous.
Would you be concerned?
Would you be cool with it?
Would I be cool with it?
That was the question.
Yeah, sorry.
Would I be cool with it? I 1,000,000% cool with any girl I'm with having lots of male friends. That is.
And what's your reason for?
I think it's strange. It would be to not be cool with that is like suggest some kind of problems.
Yeah.
But I also do think it's fair when you enter into a relationship to expect that you are each other's priority above all the other guys and all the other girls. I think that's fair enough. And maybe I'm just speaking from like luck. I guess I'm fortunate to have not kind of had this in my experience, but I have friends who have had this experience. and we're kind of going off topic, but it's an interesting kind of diversion that like they raise a point with their partner, like you're spending a lot of time, like you're chilling a lot with that one person, and then they're made out to be a jealous control freak, when I think it's completely fair enough to raise that. It depends how you raise it. But no, I think it's normal to expect. You're not asking them. I would never ask them to just ignore their friends and push them all to one side for me. But I would expect that we become each other's priority over those friends.
So now I'm going to reverse it around. I know we're still in the same topic of friendship.
Yeah.
If you had a girl that you was good friends with, and then you met someone new, and they were like, you know what, Nick, like I would appreciate if you start speaking to your good female friends. What would you
So
do?
a partner says, I'd appreciate if you stop.
Yeah.
I would say no.
Would you not open the conversation? I think
sorry, I wouldn't just say like no and end conversation. Yeah. I would open it up and chat about it.
Yeah, why? You'd ask them
and
why.
And be like, why? And like, there's nothing to worry about. Like, you can trust me. It's completely, you know.
And you meet, if you meet, like if you get the two girls to meet, I think that's changes the whole dynamic. Because a lot of the times when you're worried about things, it's like, it's because you don't know.
Yeah.
Like the unknown is so scary. Like, I think, like what you were saying about before is like, I think that for me, I would always bring it back to having a conversation about your values. And if your values match up, you're absolutely golden. But if you have massively different values, I think that's when it becomes a problem. And meeting your partner's friends is such a big deal, because then you can be like, oh, I'm not friend by Joe. He's a good bloke. Like, we're really good friends now. I think, and that probably solves the entire issue.
True.
So no one says
I do think culturally it is different as well, because in other cultures, like in Mediterranean, like in Portugal, Spain, women and men it's completely different. Like, they're way more easy being friends. It's kind of it's more culturally it's just
definitely
different. Here it's a little bit more different. I don't know why. Well, society and I'm sure various other aspects at play, but in other parts of the world it is, and maybe in other parts of the world it's even more extreme, and it's even harder for men and women to be friends. But certainly in some countries, and taking Portugal or Spain, it's way easier, because it's just part of life from when you're young.
Yeah, and surely that would be obvious. Like, if you end up dating a Portuguese or a Spanish girl, that will probably become very obvious from the get-go. And if you're not okay with it, then you probably don't want to get into a serious relationship with that person.
Yeah, I do think as well, and going back to what I said near the beginning, is until the age of about 20 when it became easier for me to be friends with women. It's because I went to an all-boys school growing up. And I think...
Yeah, definitely.
And when I think of a lot of my mates from that school, most of them don't have female friendships. I would say a large majority of them don't.
Yeah.
Even now.
I mean, I don't, and I went to a mixed school, but I think the reason why I don't is because of all the drama. There was so much drama between friends, and like there was cheating, there was like all this kind of stuff, like, and that really scared me, you know. I thought, oh God, like if a girl has a bunch of male friends, like 100% some of them want to have sex with her. Like, you can't get away from that fact. And it's like whether or not you feel comfortable with that. If you feel comfortable with your girlfriend hanging around with a bunch of guys that probably want to get with her, and as soon as you're out the picture, they could potentially try it. Like, that's what I grew up with, genuinely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
like,
then there's this story that, you know, lurks around, that every girl has a best friend, and when she finishes with the current relationship, they always seem to run to that best friend they've been talking to for a while.
Yeah, they're called
and
orbiters.
They've made some agreement that if they're both single when they're 40, they'll get married.
100%.
So you know. But do we have that as guys, like where we have these female friends, we can make an agreement with that, if nothing works out by the age of 65?
I mean, if these women are doing it with their guy friends, then of course.
I mean,
I think I don't.
No, I don't. But I'm saying you're saying, are there guys out there? Well, the guys that are making these arrangements.
Yeah,
there are guys out there because they're making those arrangements.
We always used to call them orbiters. You know, like they're just kind of like.
I like that.
The girl is like the Earth, and then they have these little satellites that are just going around them.
What is it? You don't want her to be Jupiter, where they've got like 45 moons or something.
I like that one. Yeah.
To move on, what would you say to a friend who you can tell is going through a bad situation, that you're there for them, how would you support them?
I'd probably ask them if they want to hang out, just do something like go to Top Golf or go for a beer or go watch a football game.
And then how do you ask that first question?
Just how you doing, man? Like you seem a little bit off. Is there anything you want to talk about? Like generally, like you can tell. Well, I don't know. Like, can you guys? Like, usually it's quite obvious. No?
I mean, I tend not to be like, how you doing? I'll probably say like, how's your day? Then it gives them a chance to talk about things. Then if they speak about a day, then you keep. If you're a good listener, then you could pick up one or two things if they're going through stuff. You'd be like, oh, okay, what happened there? So sometimes the ability to be able to, I wouldn't say control the conversation, is opening doors in the conversation.
So normally if you ask someone how they're doing,
it's just straight.
If they're not doing well, will often be the easiest shutdown for them. Because they'll just be like, all right.
Yeah. Good point. How's your week? How's your day? Like, what do you get up to?
I think also what is, you kind of like touched on it there, and what I've found, particularly with men, is there's this, your closest set of people, I think you could say, mate, like, are you okay? But and then they'll open up. But that's your very close friends. Then they're kind of like, outside of that, often with men, I find what can be good is that the conversation is a addition to an activity, or like you are doing something. You're not just sat talking. The pub, I know you are sat talking at a pub, but you're at the pub, like having a beer, Top Golf. I found, for me, I've become really close with the guy I go to the gym with, who I mentioned earlier. We've formed a real friendship. We train every day together.
Mate, that's massive.
But like training, like we've had some proper proper conversations at 9 a.m. in between sets of bench press. Do you know what I mean? But genuinely, like it's because it provides this like safety net or framework. I don't know what you would call it. But like it gives you this kind of...
It's a masculine space, isn't it, the gym?
The gym is a masculine space, but it could be at Top Golf or at the park having a kick around. And it's almost like as men, we need to feel like our feelings are not the center of what we're talking about. Like, we haven't met up to talk about my feelings. We've met up to play football. Yeah. And I'll tell you how I'm feeling. I'm feeling a bit shit or whatever. I feel like that's a massively helpful thing for guys.
And there's a pause. I think the thing is with the gym is the reason why it's perfect is you'll be chatting and then you have to stop for like a decent amount of time, do your like bench press or do your like squats or whatever, and then you continue the conversation. And that little pause is perfect because then it doesn't feel too much. And
it's an easy get out. If you're about to say something, like you're about to get on something you don't want to, you say, 1 sec, and then it's changed. Something like that.
100%. The gym is a great place. I know Manny loves it as well. Like
I was gonna say like, to be honest, I'm part of a Discord group with stocks and shares, whatever, and they might not be my friend physically, but they know my experiences that I've been through with my whatever, my losses.
Shared experience.
Yeah. So even though I don't see them physically, they're able to like lift me up, be like, you know what, don't worry about this. Like, this is it. Look in that angle, look in that avenue. Like you're saying, each person or friend serves the purpose. So whether they're digital or physical, I was still able to get some kind of, comfort from someone from Discord, send me a message, be like, you know what, guy, don't worry about it. These things happen. We're in a funny place in life right now with financial investment,
Going back to what you're saying at the beginning, filling you back up. Like that's one thing we talked about at the beginning, like the importance or one of the key values of a friendship about
motivation.
Them being able to, motivation, fill you up. And it's kind of, for me, if I go away with mates for the weekend, we've had those trips together where we go away with mates and you just finish the weekend, you might be tired from whatever, but you feel
exhausted,
full.
No.
You might. I'm saying you might be tired because you've been out, or you might have gone to the countryside. But whatever, you feel full.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that, and I think the friends that can do that are really important. I wanted to finish with something a little bit random, so I just thought of. So everyone has to think of a friend, and then say in a sentence. You can use a fake name if you don't want to use a real name. Say in a sentence or two what that friendship means to you.
Before we get there, right, is it true that we can define, the term friendship or best friends? Because best friend is what you have when you're young, I realized. Then as you get older,
an important friendship in your life.
You have a good friend, then you have a true friend.
Whoever you want.
Not best friend. Choose a very important friend in your life.
Can we do multiple? Can we do like 3 or something? Because 1 is so hard. I know.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to use a fake name,
I don't have a lot of friends, but now you want to use.
That's why if you want to use a fake name, if you don't want to like let someone out, you can just say to X.
So what do I say?
You could say to Nick, your friendship means your friendship is really important to me because X, Y, Z.
I don't want to feel like I'm not respecting or appreciating all my friends when I do this, right?
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to use a real name. You can use a fake name. But just say to X.
It would be nice to use a real name like you did at the start, which was very nice. Sometimes we have to let the geezers know that you're doing well.
I don't think there's
anything wrong. I think we should use a real name.
Okay, use a real name. It's up to you, though.
Okay.
Like, it's up to anyone if you want to use a real name.
All right, there's 4 people that I really want to shout out.
Shout out to 4 people.
All right. This is what we were speaking about, though. Like what we were speaking about the other day. Like, you know how certain people offer you different things. Like this is like my 4 core like people. So I've got Rob, who's like my mate from when I was super young. I've got Tim, who is in Sweden, and I met him online on a video game when I was 16.
Wow. And
reconnected with him. I wasn't speaking to him for about 5 years. Reconnected. And like instantly hit it off, and we now go for runs. We get on a call. He's in Sweden, I'm in the UK, and we just go for runs while on the video on a call. We're just like, "How you doing, mate?" And I'm like, "Really good." Well, that means like, so Rob is just stability. Like, he's been there through thick and thin. Tim is just like, he's my kind of like way of getting out and feeling free. Like, he provides me with a support that is just, he doesn't judge me for anything. He just kind of accepts me. And then the third person is Mond. He lives in Australia, and he's like my kind of guru. He's like super smart. And then recently, my girlfriend Marina, she's now my best mate, because I spend all my bloody time with her. How could she not be?
Yeah, she's going to listen to this, so that's technically, is that cheating?
Is that cheating?
At the end?
Gotta say.
But the 3 lads, I've got to say that. No, but the 3 lads at the start, like, they've been there for like, you know, a long time, and they all give me little things that they do individually as people, and they play to their strengths. Well, I know what their strengths are, I suppose, now. So,
money.
Well, I can't mention your name because you sat here on the sofa with me, so that'd be wasting a name. I got a few names myself. It's the combination of, you know.
Okay, let's make a max of like 4 though.
4, okay. First shout out goes to a lady friend by the name of Claudia, right? She's like my sister. You know, when my sister passed, it's like she took on this role to be there to support me. Anything I need, like, she gets it done, you know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. The next one, or should I say my next hummingbird, she goes by the name of B.
Yeah.
B is interesting. Like, she's an interesting character. She's a bit like a boy and a girl put together, but she has
those
attributes,
energies.
From both sides. Again, she knows how to motivate me greatly. She's number 1 motivator. When it comes to anything with fashion, finance, stocks and shares, she knows every damn thing about it. Going back to my male friends, there's another guy called Patrick Price. He used to be part of the Yogeez.
Shout out, Pat.
Yeah, he's someone that I can rely on emotionally, and he's someone that allows me to open up myself to him and to speak to him about any problems I'm going through. Then I have another
one.
Yeah, one more left, right?
One more left, yeah. That quite is done after that.
So I have a friend called Ashley in Dubai. The reason why I'm going to say his name, because we don't see each other a lot due to what happened in COVID, and he lives in the UAE. But no matter what it is, there's always a connection with me and him when we talk, you know, about family and friends. And he's always there when I need him. If I say, Ashley, call me right now, he'll call me. If I need anything, he'll give it to me.
Love it.
Oh, I was hoping that whilst you two were talking, I would pick
the best
way.
You've already done 3 already.
To go about it.
You've got one left.
Yeah, one left.
I've got one left.
Yeah, Frank Lampard.
I think you even done another. You said a mate, your old school mate that you were chatting with yesterday.
You said you got none left?
Well, he was who I was. I'll do. So yeah, I mentioned the 3 earlier who are new friends. So this one, I'll mention one who's an old friend. And that's Max, who I did spend the day with yesterday. And yeah, Max and I, from the very day we met, were brothers, and it was like unexplainable connection that we've had ups and downs, but I know that throughout anything, he's my brother, and he would sit in the mud with me.
Nice.
I like this word, the mud.
Yeah.
Make it sound like war, like in back in World War II or something.
Yeah, that is a nice way to finish then. So.
No, don't try it.
Come on, Nick.
To finish off, we'll have
who's in the mud with you? Who's
in the mud?
Or the Donya.
Yeah, I should have thought that as I was asking you guys the question. So I'm gonna pick my brother, my actual brother, who has been a best friend and with me all the way through all the kind of tough times and a lot of the other joyful times as well. But he's definitely one person. And then I'll pick. It's so hard to then pick another, but I'll pick.
No pressure, mate.
Say Memphis and James as two really close friends who that kind of ease of relationship and the source of just being there and them filling me up. So I'd go with those two as well. But it's hard. I feel like I've mentioned others as well. But
you have to see it through. You got two more left. What? I mean,
no, I've done three.
That's three.
That's all right.
That's all right. One more. Just to
okay, one more. Okay, I'll say.
You said you had a lot of female friends, right?
Yeah, I'll say Jess.
Oh,
like you know Jess obviously really well as well.
Oh yeah, Jess.
Who we have this kind of like joke about our WhatsApp diaries because we've sent about, I don't know, 12 weeks worth of voice notes to each other, and she's someone who's always there for me, whatever I'm going through as well, and someone who I met only about 6-7 years ago, so one of the later friends, but definitely someone who's...
And that's strange, she was with Patrick, and Patrick was my name, now Jess is your name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Part of the crew. So yeah, I'd end with that.
Yeah. And just disclaimer that we weren't picking our best friends.
Thank you.
Yeah. We were just like important ones on the spot pressure really hard.
People in our lives.
But yeah,
shout out to Pierre, James, Oliver.
What is it? Who's that rapper who could do like 400
Eminem.
words a minute?
My
Twister.
best mate.
Twister, no?
Yeah, Twister, man. Oh, is he your friend?
No, but I'm just saying, just bust out 400 names.
Shout out to Twister.
But no, that is a wrap for today. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you, Gabes.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Manny. Thank you, Ollie.
Thank you.
All very important friends, and it was great to do this. It's been a while. Also, as well, remember if you're listening, watching, please like, subscribe, share. And you can always send us, nick@yogeezers.com, send us an email with what you want the next topic to be. And also shout out to G, who is live editing this right now. So thank you, G.
One time for G.
So thanks everyone for listening, for watching, and for now, take it geezy.